There is a poll worth hearing this morning. Some surprises in this CNN ORC poll. Some good news for Jeb Bush, but also for Donald Trump. The pair are now the only Republican candidates with double-digit support. Bush is 19, Trump following at 12. Remember, this isn't just New Hampshire. This is overall. Trump is in the race, and he just leapfrogged all of these other people. Now, the other headline is, when they line up against Hillary Clinton, they're both taking a beatdown at this point. Still early, but what does it all mean? We have CNN political commentator and Washington correspondent for The New Yorker, Mr. Ryan Lizza, and Steve Adubato, political and media analyst and author of You Are the Brand.
Steve, how do you explain that in the middle of all of the controversy over Trump's Mexican comments that he's number 2 in this poll?
You're going to ask me to explain Donald Trump? I mean, I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
I'm here, so I better try.
No, the respondents. I mean, these are Republican respondents. What are they seeing?
You got to be kidding me. I mean, I sat there and I said, when I saw Donald Trump and heard Donald Trump say what he said, those horrific things about Mexican immigrants, I thought, so there it is. We finally see who Donald Trump really is. I mean, most of us knew. And then people said, oh, a candidate who says what he thinks. I'm thinking, you're kidding me. And sure enough, my analysis is this. People are tired, most people, or many people, at least through those who vote in the Republican primary, are tired of people who try to figure out what people want to hear. And they say, at least Trump says what he thinks. It may be crazy, it may be off the wall, and the next day he may be backpedaling, which you are, Donald Trump. You know you're doing that. You know you're trying to figure out how to say you didn't really say what you said. Right. And the fact is, Chris Christie's trying to figure out, wait a minute, that was my role. Except Chris Christie has a real job and has to be accountable for what he says and does. Donald Trump doesn't unless he loses a contract with NBC.
Well, Ryan, is there a chance that this surge in the poll is about his popularity and celebrity despite, not because of, what he said about the immigrants?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think that Steve is right. There is a sort of visceral like for someone in the Republican primaries who is, one, very anti-Obama and very conservative on some of these immigration issues. Conservative voters are not where Jeb Bush is. But I wouldn't mistake his support in this poll for some kind of dominance in the Republican primaries. We saw this phenomenon in 2012 when we had a big Republican field. Remember this? Remember Michelle Bachmann was leading in the polls in the summer of 2011? And then there was this phenomenon of a candidate a month surging and then declining, but one candidate always staying up there with solid support. So it was Mitt Romney versus someone else, and every month there was a new someone else. I think that that's what this poll shows, is you've got Jeb Bush, who has solid, consistent, growing, incrementally support, and then there's always someone else. So this poll is good news for Bush, bad news for all of his establishment or possible establishment opponents.
Well,
because Trump is taking from Rubio, he's taking from Walker, he's taking from all those would-be challengers, and those guys need to break out.
Ryan, that's a great point. In fact, if I can put the poll up again, you can see that, in fact, he has stolen something like 8 points from Rubio. I don't know if you can give Donald Trump all the credit, but Rubio is down from his high of 14%, now down to 6%. Scott Walker had a high of 10% in May, now 6%.
Well, and not to get too technical, but if you dig into the internals of this poll, that is what's happening, Alisyn. He is the voters, they're older, whiter, more conservative voters, and they're sloshing around from Rubio to Trump.
But part of the problem here is this. Rubio and Walker have to figure out what they really want to say. They can't accept the fact that, hey, they did okay in the polls, they're surprising some people, so let's just not do anything. Let's just not say anything. Let's just keep our campaign operation going. The thing about Trump that stands out is that he says things that are provocative. They're off the wall. But I'll say this. Chris Christie, who announced yesterday, has this challenge before him. If he can get into those debates and he can get on that stage, and I've interviewed him many times, people know that he has a heck of a personality. Yes, he's got Bridgegate. Yes, you got the economy in New Jersey. Yes, you had credit downgrades. But if he gets on that stage, my view, he stands head-to-head with Donald Trump. He's the only guy that look him eyeball to eyeball and can stand him down. The rest of those candidates are afraid, crazy. They are afraid, Chris, of Donald Trump.
I hear you on Brand, and I hear you why they're afraid of Trump. They don't want to go toe-to-toe and play his game. They don't talk as well as he does. But let me ask you something about Christie, knowing him the way you do. Do you think that he can win New Jersey in a presidential primary?
New Jersey, it's a good question, except here's the issue. If you don't either win New Hampshire or do well in New Hampshire,
you don't get to New Jersey.
You don't get to New Jersey because the way the New Jersey primary is set up so far.
Right, but I'm saying just theoretically.
Is he
right
popular
now,
enough? Yeah, in his home state.
You're talking about in a general election because there is no real primary that matters. Could he win a primary in New Jersey, in a Republican primary? Yes.
Against this field right now, you don't think he'd lose to one of the guys who are there right now?
No, because he still has enough support among Republicans in New Jersey. A general election against Hillary Clinton is another issue. By the way, still 40% of New Jerseyans in the Wall Street Journal poll say they do not trust Hillary Clinton. That's another issue. I still think Christie has problems in New Jersey as well. But New Hampshire's the bigger issue for
We do
him.
need to touch on Hillary Clinton for a second. Let's put up the poll that shows the head-to-head matchups still of Hillary Clinton against some of these people. She still is dominant, 13% higher than Jeb Bush right now, 17% Rubio, 19% over Christie, 19 Walker, 25% higher points.
And Alisyn,
higher
that goes to the point that both Ryan and Steve were making to us, that against Trump, she's even a bigger winner. So maybe this is about his technique right now versus his real long-term appeal.
Steve?
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, Ryan. We have to go.
Yeah,
sorry to.
I would just say be careful of the head-to-head matchups in the general election. This far out, they don't have a lot of predictive power because people just don't know these Republican candidates yet.
Yeah, finally, the closer you look at Trump, the worse he looks.
Ryan, Steve, thank you.
Great
We'll
being
see
here.
you guys again.
You got
Thanks
it.
so much.